Welcome to today's webinar. Transparency is the new green in product selection and specification. And we are really excited to continue to bring you innovative new tools that help you find, select, and ultimately specify actually greener and healthier products for high performance buildings that you're working on getting built. And importantly, making sure those manufacturers get rewarded for being transparent and actually making the effort to improve the environmental performance and material health of their products. So our goal as a company is to remove the complexity, because we all know there's a lot, to continue to simplify, and in that process, make all the information much more useful so that people can make better decisions about buildings, and so that manufacturers can make better decisions about how they make their products. Sustainable Minds, a little bit about us for those of you who haven't met us before. We are the only end-to-end product transparency solutions provider in the market today. I'm Terry Swack, the founder and CEO of Sustainable Minds. I founded the company over 10 years ago, bringing to market the first eco-concept and LCA screening software tool for product manufacturers to be able to evaluate the environmental performance of their products across the life cycle in early stage design, so they could understand where in the life cycle the greatest impacts were occurring and what they could do to actually improve them. When LEED version 4 introduced product transparency and the use of life cycle assessment and the corollary environmental product declaration into the credit language, we were all on board with that, because if a manufacturer is actually doing life cycle assessment on their products, they should know where the impacts are occurring and what they can be doing to actually improve them and to create better, more innovative products. So we were all in saying, look, we already are on board with manufacturers doing this. Let's get involved now in this space where manufacturers can leverage that information, use it to market their products, which is what product transparency is all about, is helping manufacturers make better products and market them better. So we became a program operator to make more simplified tools for manufacturers and ultimately deliver better, more simplified and understandable EPD documents to the industry. We do life cycle assessment and material evaluation studies, because if we're going to be in this business, we have to have the technical chops to understand the technical standards and ultimately how the content is being used in the market. And more recently, back in 2015, we really started focusing on delivering this content in the cloud in easy-to-use transparency reporting tools and delivering training and education to manufacturers. And so our solutions are all designed to seamlessly integrate product transparency into product marketing so that manufacturers can build credibility with you, their customers, as another way to compete, to create preference and value so that you will select and specify their products. So part of today's session, as you can tell, is to help develop some insight into the challenges that manufacturers face, so we can all have a little bit more empathy. And we're doing the same thing with manufacturers, helping them develop empathy for you about the complexity and the challenges of using the content that they're creating. So we're helping to kind of float all boats. We're going to talk about that. We'll give you some insight into how the catalog is curated. We have a really different business model and organization from the other organizations who offer access to content on this topic. We're going to talk about how, because we are so focused on the specification process, what we've done with our partners over at v2.0, the developers of MasterSpec, how we've aligned the catalog's implementation of MasterFormat with the content that we're adding to be aligned with MasterSpec. And then we'll do a quick demo, talk through some use cases and ask you to leave some questions, ask questions. If we don't touch on them during the time that we have, we'll definitely follow up with you. And let's get going. All right, so I probably don't need to spend much time on the challenges that you as design professionals face trying to find products, high performance products, either for the purpose of simply wanting to specify higher performing, greener and healthier products, or you're actually working on a project where it's going for LEED, WELL, LBC, or other green building rating system certification. And so you're really looking to find as many products as you can across those divisions. And we know that that's not easy to do. We also know that it's not easy for you to use technical disclosures to make better informed and comparative decisions. And we also know you're not looking to specify disclosures. You're looking to specify products with disclosures. And so the orientation around showcasing just disclosures doesn't really fit into the workflow that people have in place to source products and get those into the spec. And we know from talking to many, many, many architecture and design, engineering firms, as well as construction companies and the project managers on that side, the process of selecting products and ultimately getting those preferred products either to the specification team to ensure that they get into the spec and that they stay in the spec and they don't get substituted in the submittal process. There's really just no standardized way of doing that. And so we're looking to help establish, again, a simple and standardized way to make sure that the products that you find actually do make it into the specification and stay there as well. So manufacturers have big organizations, and even if they're a small manufacturer, there's still a lot of people involved in product transparency. You've got the technical people, the product marketing people, or the product people, the sustainability people, the product stewardship people. One or more parts of the organization might be involved in creating the technical disclosures, the data creation, reach out to suppliers, going through the process. And then once that technical disclosure is done, they still have to get it over to marketing, and marketing still has to get it over to the sales organization. And so there's a lot of coordination and a lot of knowledge transfer that needs to happen to ultimately enable that manufacturer to have their reps who call on you be able to knowledgeably talk about that manufacturer's commitment to the environment and healthy materials, and to be able to be knowledgeable about these two new performance attributes, as knowledgeable as they are about all the other attributes that you look for to make decisions. So it's a long process that isn't also well defined inside manufacturers' organizations. And as I'm sure you've run into, different parts of organizations care more or less about different things. So it may be that the people in the product organization care very deeply about telling this story, and the folks in the sales organization don't care as much because they're not getting questions. They're not getting asked for it. And so there's kind of a disconnect inside the organization. Those who are committed to creating disclosures, it takes a lot of time now. It costs a lot of money. There's generally only a few people who know how to do it. And ultimately, we talked about distributing that knowledge and distributing the documents themselves. So there's a whole workflow that needs to be created that becomes efficient from start to finish through distribution, and really being responsive to what you're looking for, and helping you find what you need. And all of this should add up to building a credibly greener brand. And the operative word here is credibly, because the disclosures themselves, again, as we just talked about, don't have to and don't actually show any kind of results about how much better that particular product is than another product, unless you're looking at a rating system like a declare label or a cradle to cradle certification. Those do have levels built in, but an EPD and HPD straight up disclosures do not have comparative results built in. It's what the manufacturer does with that information that makes their storytelling credible. They've got data. How do they tell the story about what they're actually doing to improve? And that's what we work on with the manufacturers, is taking that technical data and turning it into understandable and meaningful information that helps them build a credibly greener brand and helps you make better informed decisions. So in the Transparency Catalog version 2 that we rolled out in January, we added really two big components of functionality and content. When we launched the catalog in 2016, there were only 350 building product manufacturers who had invested in any kind of product transparency disclosure, whether it was an EPD or any kind of material ingredient disclosure. And so when you think about how you go to research products in your beginning stages of research, you think about brands, right? You think about the manufacturers who you know and you trust, and you'll typically go to their websites first, or you'll go to Google or whichever search engine you prefer and start to type in some keywords and hope that you're going to find some results. But people think about brands. And so in the beginning of the catalog, that's all we did, was we wanted to shine the light on those brands who had invested in product transparency. And so when we launched 350 brands, today there's over 1,100, getting close to 1,200 brands, with now enough brands across enough MasterFormat divisions that finally made adding that functionality useful. So the reason I'm telling you that story is because Sustainable Minds is a user experience-driven product development organization. Customer experience and user experience are paramount. You're not going to use something that's not useful or that's not usable. And ultimately, what we want to do, the third component of user experience, is making it desirable. So being able to add the MasterFormat filtering anytime sooner, or even just an open search field, which we personally don't like, would typically give you either poor results or no results at all. And that is just a poor user experience. So implementing the filtering now was possible because there are enough manufacturers across enough divisions to provide a great user experience. And further, there are now enough manufacturers who have created EPDs across those divisions. There's now 21 MasterFormat divisions where manufacturers have created EPDs, that it was now worth the effort to be the resource to collate and curate all of the EPDs from all of the program operators in North America, all in one place. Because again, you're looking for products with EPDs, not just EPDs. So today, when you go to a program operator website, you get the EPDs. You don't necessarily know what products they go with. And you'll see that's kind of part of the unique, simple solution that we've built, is to work with manufacturers to correlate all the products that they offer with each of the technical disclosures that they've created. And so with this new functionality, we have enabled you to literally do more in one click. You're going to be able to find every brand and their products in literally a click or minutes or days, depending upon how much comparative research you're going to do. But in that moment, we're trying to stomp out this problem of spending weeks or months research and finding products, hunting for products on a manufacturer's website or someplace else, and then separately having to hunt for their transparency disclosures. And finally, on the back end, if you are having to deal with substitutions in the submittal process, and you really are committed to making sure that the products from the manufacturers who have created those transparency disclosures are the products that you want, making sure that the substitutions are equivalent from a transparency perspective can also be very challenging. So these are 3 use cases that this new functionality really helps to mitigate. And just again, if you look at the scope of the content in the catalog, the Transparency Catalog is the most inclusive product transparency solution, meaning that we include the manufacturers who have produced a material ingredient disclosure in every single program that has been identified as eligible for earning the Green Building Rating System credits from all the Green Building Rating Systems that offer material ingredient credits, and the same every program operator in North America. I think I need to update these numbers, or it's actually a little bit more right now. And again, the Transparency Catalog is the only place you're going to find access to every EPD by MasterFormat division. We have, as I mentioned earlier, built that expertise in our organization, lifecycle assessment expertise. We are program operators. We create PCRs, we do LCAs, we develop EPDs, we support material ingredient disclosures of all types. We have that knowledge resident in the organization, which is why we can credibly monitor and keep track of all of the Green Building Rating System credits in each of those rating systems, and understand how those credits may be changing, keeping you up to date on those things. We're actually been doing a webinar in the next couple weeks on EPDs and LEED v4.1. And then we monitor every program operator's website and every material ingredient disclosure program to add any manufacturer who has created a listing, who has created a disclosure. We add a free listing to the catalog so that you know that manufacturer has something and the manufacturer gets some visibility. The way Sustainable Minds makes money, and so our business model is different, is we have manufacturers pay an annual subscription, it's software as a service, to add their products, for us to maintain that content, to train their sales organization to use it. They get a free webinar and some other back-end technical services so that we are moderating and curating and helping the manufacturer get the most out of presenting their content, and then we maintain it for them so that you can be sure that content is credible and up to date. That's why we don't have you log in. We don't believe in tracking user data. We don't believe in selling user data or analytics. We don't sell ads. Again, we want a friction-free experience. You go to the site, you use it, and then you leave. So I talked a little bit about aligning MasterSpec with MasterFormat. When a manufacturer works with us to add their products, we only add MasterFormat divisions and sections to the filtering when there are products or brands that have disclosures in that division or section, which means you're never going to filter and get no results. So we've built the filtering based on the content that we have. However, when you look at, here's an example, when you look at the complete MasterFormat section numbering, and you look at MasterSpec for that same range of numbers, there are far fewer MasterSpec sections than there are MasterFormat sections. And so because of our partnership with the v2.0 and MasterSpec, and later this year integrating the transparency catalog content with MasterSpec, so those of you who use MasterSpec, when you pick a section, those products with transparency information will show up in exactly the right sections. So here's the big problem that we're solving with the manufacturer's listings, is that a manufacturer can create a disclosure that covers 1 product, 5 products, 10 products, 20 products. It's hard to tell by looking at the disclosure how many products that disclosure covers. So at the core of the listing, when the manufacturer adds their products, the table is organized by MasterFormat, division, and section. We append the manufacturer's brand name so you know what they call their products in that division and section. And then you can open each section. We link to the product page on the manufacturer's website, and this is key. We don't believe the manufacturer should have to maintain a lot of content about their products someplace that is not their website, which is really where they want you to go, and which is probably where you're going to have the most trust that that content is up to date and accurate. And then what we do is we correlate the disclosures that they have, whether they have one type or both, and link directly to those disclosures. So you're getting that content right there in one click. So now I'm going to jump to the demo, because what I wanted you to see was that each manufacturer's listing, when they have products in that section, consider that a building block for the filtered results. So I'm going to go over here now to the catalog, and of course you can still use the catalog as it was originally designed. You can search alphabetically and see every single manufacturer in North America who has invested in product transparency. You can go to their listings and see everything they've got. Go to their website, contact them, again, click on the content, or you can filter. So if you're in kind of early stage research, you might start out by saying, look, I just want to see how many products and brands there are in Division 7. So in one click, you're going to find out that there are 120 brands and 748 products across all the sections in Division 7. So now you have a bunch of choices about how you want to continue to find products. You might say, wow, you know what? I could click through and paginate through the pages, but that seems like a lot of work because that's a lot of brands. So depending upon how you think through a process, you might say, you know what? Let me just see which brands are actually here. So if you click on the brands, and now what I'm going to show you is how each of these filters act on these results, and you can use them in any order. They're not dependent upon each other. So you might say, all right, great. I like AEP Span, Manson, Sika. I want to see Knopf. And then you're going to go ahead and save those brands. And now you'll see there's 4 brands, but there's still a lot of products. So what you might do is say, great, I like those brands, but let me see, I'm working on a lead project. So let me see all the products from these brands that are going to help me earn this EPD credit. And it'll filter down. We've got 4 brands. Wow, we still have 242 products. Well, now you might say, all right, well, I want to go for the material, obviously the material credits too. So how many of those products? Wow, look at 230 products are going to get me both. But let's say you're working on a living building challenge project, and you can do that too. You can filter here, and now you're going to see all the brands that have products with declare labels that you'll be able to use for LBC. So let me go back and clear the filters. Let's say you're in later stage product selection and you're really getting ready to move into more detailed product selection and specification. That's what this whole filtering is for. So you could have, when you came from the front page, selected a section. You never have to go back to the front page ever again. You can just stay in this filtering paradigm. So I'm going to show you. So let's say you're looking for everything in 0710. You're immediately going to see there's 2 brands and 3 products. Now let me look at 0720. There's a lot more sections with products, and I want to explain to you how we've designed this. The jury's out as to what you're going to prefer. We're continually doing research. But what we learned from speaking with design professionals as well as with manufacturers, neither constituency was always sure which section to look in for a particular kind of product. So what we did was we decided to display every product in that section in 0721 when you open it. And then what you do is you're going to use the filters to turn off what you don't want to see. So we're letting you see more stuff so you can kind of browse and maybe find some brands that are you might not have known about. And so you might start saying, yeah, I do want board insulation. I don't want foam in place. I don't want loose fill. I don't want blown. I would consider sprayed. So now, again, now I've filtered down to just the brands and just the products in 0721 and even further now in 0721-19 if you're getting really specific about those section levels. Again, you can go back and use the rating systems, filters, and further, the only time you're ever going to see a search field, this is the only one, because we want to stay focused on helping you always have great results in product selection and specification. This product name field searches only on the product name column, only these names. So you might use this, let's say you'd used a product in the past that had a particular brand name, but you can't remember which manufacturer it's from. So maybe you type in that name and you're going to see, oh, that's Owens Corning. You might also just say, you know what, I'm just going to look for this attribute of foam. You type in foam, you're going to see all the products that have foam in the name. And you might find other use cases for that as well. So we're at our time. I just wanted to give you some background on Sustainable Minds so you know who we are, how we're creating the catalog, how you might decide to use it. Again, free to use, no login, no ads. I showed you the manufacturer's listing. One thing we really want to encourage you to do is, let's say you have filtered down to this level and you say, you know what, I know Owens Corning has a lot of products. I just want to see everything they have. You can always click on the manufacturer's name in the filtered results and go to their listing, the building blocks of their filtered results. And now in one place, you're going to see every product they have across every MasterFormat division and section. And again, you'll be able to see which disclosures that they have. Go right there, get that disclosure. And what we want to encourage you to do is let the manufacturer know when you are selecting and specifying their products, because it's going to help them keep doing more. When we have manufacturers fill in this content, and I've turned off my email for the purpose of this webinar, this link, this let us know link, is going to pop open an email to Nazreen Olang, who is the person responsible for product transparency at Owens Corning. That's who this email goes to. We really want to encourage you to let her know when you're selecting or specifying their products so that they know they should keep doing more. You can also email her, ask questions, send feedback, anything you like. But that information is right here, and we encourage you to engage with those manufacturers. So once again, I want to thank you for attending today's webinar. We recorded it. It'll be available online. We'll send you the link in the follow-up email, and we hope you will share this information with your colleagues, your clients, and your contractors. So everyone have a great day.